time to start.
1818, yes. Close your eyes and wish for something.
If I did that every day. How often do you see numbers such as these? Like,
At least 2 or 3 times per day.
really?
Yeah.
Then I'm not alone.
Yes, it's such a wonderful thing to have. It's kind of, I usually use it to wish for something good in my life. And it's such a wonderful practice. Basically, it's like saying grace when you're eating a meal. It's like, oh, you can have so many practices in life, but it's such a good hook to put on whatever things, like, oh, 1818, it's time to pray, or, oh, it's time to clean my brush
Toothbrush.
teeth. Yeah, well, you can clean also the brush.
My toothbrush.
Yeah. Well, if you use the same brush that you use to pet your cat with, then you should clean it too.
Brush your cat.
Yeah. People say that it reminds them that how they were as little kittens when they were petted.
Alrighty.
And what is this thing? It's getting stormy.
It's not yet. It's a storm glass. Bro, before we go on, do you want to hear yourself louder, or do you want it louder like this, or
Louder like this?
louder like this, or not so loud?
No, I think it's quite okay. I'm
It's good?
hearing you quite well. I'm hearing myself like I would be in some bubble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like in that container which people use when they go underwater, that isn't
I
octagon,
haven't been there.
right? But it,
No.
it looks like a little
The
fish bowl.
scuba thing,
Yeah.
the old school. And you have some weights on your feet just to get to the bottom.
Was that a thing?
Of course, you have to have weights to go down below a certain level.
I thought the oxygen tanks do that work because they seem heavy.
Don't know. I suspect that things change. There was some sort of like thing that the top part probably isn't so dense of the water, so you kind of bubble up, but under certain level, I think the density of the water changes.
Oh yeah.
No idea about the physics, but I think at some point just everything floats down.
I mean, the pressure changes, right? A lot.
Yeah. Don't know. In the movies, it seems so.
Yeah. So, I quickly also want to kind of start from the beginning.
Yeah.
If I say Jānis, am I saying that correctly? Jānis. How do you say your name in Latvian?
In Latvian, if I would be in Latvia, and I would say, oh, sveiks, mans vārds ir Jānis.
Jānis. Oh, so
Yes.
there's like a long A there.
Yeah, it would be like double A in Estonian.
Jānis. Well, that's good to know because
Yeah, and also it's soft. Imagine the Estonian and Finnish comparison, that it would be even more choppier. But in Latvian, it's very like a bit of French.
Jānis.
Yeah, yes.
Did that have an effect on you?
Yes, it's such a pleasure when somebody says your name so affectionately.
Nice. Yeah. So your A has a roof on top, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that makes it into a long A.
Yeah.
But you also probably have a A without a roof.
Yes.
Okay. Interesting. Well, good to know. I mean, I wrote your name down in the calendar with the roof, so I was like, I want to know more about it. Cool. So Jānis from Riga or not Riga?
Last 4 years I have spent in Estonia,
Yeah.
Tallinn. Before that, 10 years in Riga. And before that, how many years? 18 years or so in Ugre, which is also Latvia, but not so commonly known as Riga.
Sure.
Yeah.
I get that similar situation here. But where is that? Like south?
If the Riga is nearby the what is the
Water.
the big water, then it's more to the center.
Okay.
Yes.
Gotcha. So 4 years in Estonia. Interesting. We've met the summer, probably, right? In like May, or May, June, probably June. I think it was June.
It might be.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So, and we've seen each other a couple of times.
But I met you even before that.
You mean online?
I was fan before we met.
Right, I remember that little thing.
Yeah, I was surprised because it was such a pleasant surprise because I knew from the videos and how you spoke and how you presented yourself, and then, hey, that's exactly the same person.
Who walked in?
Yeah, it's like, oh wow, what a chance! It was a really pleasant surprise. I love that.
Nice. So, work brought you here, or what made you check out Estonia?
It depends on the story. Of course, I have a work. And
How about the true story?
Oh, yeah. Well, I would say probably 4 years ago, I would tell the story that there was an opportunity that came with a new work situation, and that I didn't have to hustle so much, and also the income was good, and also the company was based in here in Estonia. So that opened up the, hey, maybe we could move somewhere and see how life is other places, because I at that point felt kind of a bit exhausted from Latvia, from the social atmosphere there. And I thought, oh, okay, it's good to move. And it was kind of safe enough place. So it's not that you move some far away country and then don't have any backup plan at all. And it was different enough. At that time, it felt like it's some sort of local Japan. You go there and you don't understand a single word what is spoken, and there's kind of this slightly different culture, and it was very, very pleasant to experience that. So that was the story like 4 years ago. I would say probably a year ago, I realized that I moved because I was failing at my life at that point, and I wanted to just change or just escape, and was, oh, okay, this is different story. Instead of like, oh, I'm chasing the opportunity, I was like chasing, oh, maybe it will not be so miserable here, you know. So that's other story that can be made.
Right.
So, or you could tell a story of that. Well, the first 18 years I spent like chasing the interests of my seed investors, and then I kind of broke up, and then went my way and kind of stabilized and found a peace, and then there was some sort of like new adventures in the neighboring countries, you know. But yeah, I think it's more the second one of realizing, okay, I'm failing at life, so I will move. Let's see if that changes something.
Right. You came to Tallinn directly?
What do you mean directly?
Or another city, or Tallinn?
Directly to Tallinn.
Cool. I mean, compared to, well, we say Riia, but I guess in English, Riga, right? Compared to like Riga and Tallinn, if you compare the cities, like if you walk around, do you notice some differences, like traffic or the kind of, I don't know, not just the energy, but like, you know, in Tallinn, I mean, you can really, I think you can really tell compared to a lot of other Western countries, it's kind of a little like kind of nervous, but anyway.
Tallinn is nervous?
Yeah, especially if you drive with a car. Yeah, the driving culture is definitely more nervous than many places.
What does it mean? What does it mean, like nervous driving culture?
It means, well, a good contrast would be comparing Tallinn to, let's say, Toronto, which is far away, but still a Western country. When you live in Estonia, let's say in Tallinn, and you do your thing here, use the traffic and everything, be a part of it, and then you go to Toronto, you notice that in like a 50 zone in the city, people are driving like 43,
Mm-hmm.
and there's no problem. It's
Mhm.
cool. We got time.
Mm-hmm.
The lights start flashing. Yeah, we can stop. We have that time. It's okay. I'm not gonna like, I have to get through that traffic light. It's cool. I'll stop. I'm gonna make a right turn next. There's people crossing. I can't make that turn yet. It's okay. Oh, there's one lady coming. We got time. It's cool. It's cool. And only one car makes that turn, and then it's all red again. So we'll go with the next one. It's cool. We got time. People just don't rush like here in traffic. Like people wanna, get in front of you, and they're always like really in a hurry to some place. It's very different. It makes it kind of nervous because if it's 50, you're fucking driving 54. You're an idiot a little bit. You're making a lot of trouble if you're doing 49. It's like, what the fuck is this guy sleeping? Right? Move. Right? So that's the thing. These tiny little things in traffic. But how would you say in like Riga or Tallinn? Very similar?
I have a perspective of pedestrian. I even don't have a driver's license. But the things that I noticed, like comparatively, is that even here, things are quite orderly. I think that, for example, people are stopping at the pedestrian stops quite easily. People are smiling when you wave. I tend to, when I go across, I give like big thumbs up, and they smile. It's not so bad, because in Latvia, especially in rush hours, then there's like this tension going on of like people want to get places, and they are annoyed and they are like tense and like it's like, what are you doing on the road? And so there's the intensity. I would say if you feel that Tallinn is anxious, and then there's Toronto, then Riga is even more in some way. I feel that it's even more kind of intense in that sense, because people are not exactly stopping, or they are not so willing to stop at the pedestrian places, and speeding is also an issue. I have heard that people are speeding in Latvia a lot. But kind of general impression from the city is that it's more intense.
Riga would be more intense.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's a bigger city. Definitely.
It's a bigger city. It's more dirty. It has more character. It has more underbelly too. So for the first 2 years in Tallinn, I mostly stayed in kind of city center. It's a sign for me, or is it a sign for you?
No, that was for me.
Oh,
I think
so
you're
good.
cool.
Yeah, thank you. I also think that you're cool.
Cheers.
That
you stayed in the city center? Yeah,
mostly kind of city center, Nõmme, Kalamaja, kind of in that areas, Kadriorg, and then for the first time when I was looking for my second apartment, I went to Kopli.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the first time I saw a drunk person on the ground, which is probably the first thing you will see when you step out of the bus station in Riga, because it's the central station, central train station, and the central bus station. It's kind of this like big place, and it's not the cleanest and not the prettiest place.
This experience I remember. I don't know why. I took a bus to Riga. God knows why. I've driven by many times. I've driven to Riga many times, not just to pass by and continue to Germany or Italy or something, but just to go there for, I don't know, many, many times. And in general, it's awesome to be abroad, but just as awesome to be in Riga. So, because I don't know where anything is, which makes it kind of exciting and fresh. But I have to tell you, the bus station experience was like, where the fuck did I land? What is this place?
Yeah.
And you walk away from there, and it becomes nicer quickly.
It becomes nicer, but it's still the city center is comparatively much more rougher, I would say, the experience in general.
Yeah, but then I find those kind of old town looking areas with amazing restorations of older buildings, kind of like Vanalin, old town kind of vibe. Super nice. But anyway, so did you work at Pipe Drive?
No.
No, what was that? You IT something, right?
Yes.
All right, cool.
Office work.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So anything exciting, like,
It depends on to whom that's inside. Kind of
exciting?
Yeah.
Try me.
Try me. So without like exposing any details, what exactly I'm doing is
confidential.
that of course, you always sign all sorts of NDAs and whatnot. But mostly what I do personally, and my personal experience of what I do at work is writing web applications for business people for their hot ideas to demonstrate some sort of idea that is most likely related to blockchain or some sort of security application. So for the most part, nothing that I write ever sees the daylight in public. It's there. It serves the purpose, but it's very kind of
Business to business? Okay.
yeah, it's mostly business to business, and kind of it's not even business to business in production. It's more business to business as a replacement for the deck, the presentation deck. So you can go through and show the concept very in minimal way instead of like trying to draw the imagination of kind of the salespeople. You kind of show it instead of tell it.
If you say application, you basically mean app?
Yes.
Like a program.
Yeah. Is it correct? I don't know.
Yeah, definitely.
I know that in Latvian application actually means the things that you put on the
like a patch?
Yeah.
Ah, interesting.
Applicatie.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so it would be a patch.
I can't say that in Estonia at the moment.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, applications like, but not on mobile platforms, or is it?
Well, if you have a phone with a web browser, then it's also on the phone.
Sure.
Because nowadays there's the kind of at least there's how would you say intention or intention to build for the mobile as well as web as well as desktop. So there's kind of this same thing, and there's some sort of unifying things happening. For example, if you have used a Slack application, now
What's that?
It's communication application that people have the rooms and different channels and they communicate. So they, instead of sitting in the inbox, they are sitting in the Slack and having direct messages, etc., exchanging the files and whatnot. It kind of for communication inside of company or whatever pet project you have. It works for that too.
Kind of like Monday.com. People use Monday.com. You know, the advertisement in YouTube?
No. I think I have turned off all the advertisements in the YouTube and everywhere else. I'm like, God,
all right, good.
Please don't. Or the Spotify ads. Those are the best. Have you seen the parodies of the Spotify ads?
No.
Oh, they are so great.
I don't remember because I have had premium for so long. I just don't.
Yeah.
I don't.
You're missing out.
I should pay less.
Yeah, just get new account, sign up for free, and just have that experience of when you're like listening to music when somebody is like overly excited, going like and some sort of like music background. Oh, it's so irritating. It's like
Yeah.
nails on a chalkboard.
I don't want to mess up your train of thought, but maybe there are actual ads on Spotify at the moment for the free accounts, but I remember when it was just like a woman's voice saying basically, there's a song playing, and then it goes, would you like me to shut up? Then please pay. Basically, right? Because like, would you like to hear music without interruptions?
Yeah.
Like I would if you wouldn't ask me that. You know?
It is quite similar, and it has the same pathos, and you can see it's so powerful that you still remember it, because it has been so annoying.
Yeah.
To hear that voice and then like, oh, come on, please stop it, because it's so out of context. Let's say you have like wonderful evening, lights are dimmed, you are with your lover, and it's like putting on your playlist of the evening songs, and it's playing, and it's like, would you like this ad to stop now?
Yeah.
That doesn't work.
I'll like choke on my strawberry.
It's like, oh, this guy's so cheap.
Yeah. So the apps. This is probably super interesting field, because a couple of things I just don't know nothing about, like gaming or like HTML, or like what program do you use to make a program? Like, is there Adobe something? Or you sit down at your laptop and you start coding in a program.
Yeah. In what kind of level you would like to understand this topic?
Like a 5-minute thing.
5 minute. So there are like the text editors for the programs. There are many different things to type in. You know, you can have your Word document, and so you type in the Word document, or you can have your favorite editor, whatever it is. I don't know. Like, and then there's a language in which you write the things. For example, it could be HTML, it could be a Python or whatever. And then you give those instructions to the language. So there's some sort of application that reads those things and outputs an
action. An action, something happens.
Yeah, you kind of give like free flow poetry thing of like, oh, when this being clicked, this happens, etc., etc. Then it's being transformed into something that you can click, and it runs actually and does what you kind of intended to do. Usually not after the first run, but like iteratively you kind of arrive to something that is pleasant and actually does what you intended to do.
Okay. Do you do the front end as well? You make it beautiful, or just the background?
Me personally?
Yeah.
Or me personally, yeah, I do the front end too.
Okay, so let's try an example. Like, oh, actually, I know.
I have a suspicion that this is undercover tech support. I have this problem on my computer.
No, luckily not. But when I was doing my djembemaster.com website, I needed a host to host the videos, and WooCommerce or whatever is in between to make it all, payable and all that stuff. Plus Stripe is there as well for the payments and everything. So I had a couple options, and Vimeo seemed to be the right one for me. But I mean, at first I didn't have that, not a really pleasant experience with Vimeo, which actually turned out to be just a tiny automation glitch, some AI glitch, which saw that my videos had some, I don't know, music in it or something. Anyways, they were like, I uploaded everything. They were taken down. I was like, oh, I gotta get this like thing launched, and I don't have a host. So I was like, what would it take? You know, isn't there a platform which I can upload to, which just has, I just want a little player, you know, just a little player with a link that I could like link this, you know, my website would show the video because the link is correct or something. And obviously a video player is probably an app or something, is a program. So if let's say, I mean, everything with Vimeo worked out fine. And I kind of like their everything. It's pretty cool. And it works well. But let's say if it didn't, and I would come to you and say like, dude, I want like a program. I just want a video player. Like, can you make me one?
Kind of yes, but there's kind of understanding of complexity. And that's the reason why, for example, there isn't much of a video streaming services, because what is happening is that you have like this huge video file that's being streamed to end of some sort of computer that might be on the other side of the world, and sending all that data all the time to that particular machine is costly. So to send those files, it costs money.
How so? I mean, for the end user to see the content?
For him, maybe it isn't so much. Basically, he's, let's say, if he would be on the mobile, just an analogy, if you would pay for 9 gigabytes of whatever, like mobile thingy.
Data.
Yeah, mobile data. So it would mean that he can just pay 9 gigabytes, and after 9 gigabytes, he has to pay again. And that's the thing, that people who are actually sending those data, Vimeo, they are paying for sending all that data. So there's kind of bit of smartness that comes into building out the infrastructure, how to send something to other side of the world, so it costs less, or it doesn't take an interruptions. For example, everyone hates when it starts to buffer and it's like glitchy, because it's kind of technical problem of like how do you send it?
Kind of like Facebook video player glitchy, are we? Hey, no worries. It's only a multi-billion-dollar company, but can't make the video player work.
But that's the thing, that in the background, they have to support and maintain this huge system to actually put that video close enough to your locale so you actually can play it without interruptions.
Interesting.
Yeah, for example, there was innovative technology regarding Netflix that they had started to stream, and they were one of the responsible for most of the internet throughput in US. Imagine that like cables are going and the half of it is just movies from Netflix going through the cables. So they had to reduce that usage by building centers that would host their movies closer to the locales. Let's say if you said Quebec, or what was the...
Toronto.
Toronto, yes. They would have a dedicated server there that would deal the movies in that part of the country, because it's closer to send, like physically, data from there.
I thought it's like, hang on, it's like satellite everything, meaning doesn't my phone like stream from... No, it doesn't stream from satellite.
It connects.
It streams from a tower?
Yeah, tower, and then from tower it goes to whatever wire.
Yeah.
And then it goes to the local provider, data provider. Then it goes outside Estonia. I don't know.
Through satellite?
No, there's cables.
Holy shit balls.
Yeah, there are cables from Tallinn to Finland. I don't know which part, but there are 3, or at least at some point there were like 3 cables through the sea.
Right.
That
I think
has
I've heard about that.
Yeah, that just goes and sends the data. So if somebody would come and snip those cables, no internet for Estonia.
So what do you mean? Like our internet comes from
Yeah.
Finland?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
where did it used to come from when the cables weren't there?
Before they were growing it in the trees, but then they
But then they
start-
cut down the trees.
Yeah.
That's a problem. That's the problem right there.
I don't know exactly where are the kind of connections between countries, but there are like major cables that go, like big arteries that go either to Finland or to other countries that make sure that the infrastructure works.
But still, some James Bond shit has to be happening. Where are the satellites? So at some point, does anything reach a satellite? I was so hoping it would.
No, it's definitely not about satellites. I
It
think
isn't. Internet's not about satellites.
no.
Oh,
Well,
man.
probably something is, but in my view, it's more about like big pipes, like huge pipes. There are pipes in the Pacific that goes to connect the continents.
No, is that real?
I think so. Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah, you can check my bullshit too, but I have a strong belief.
Oh, some dude will bunch of dudes.
Dudes and dudettes.
Dudettes put a big ass tube in the
Yeah.
Pacific Ocean.
Imagine how important it must be.
It is.
Yeah, that somebody has like, we are going to dig deep, lay this cable, and
So
connect.
people in Hawaii can take a poop and still be, on Instagram.
That actually Hawaii, I think, is the origin of Wi-Fi.
What?
Yeah, because they had to connect to the mainland, so they used the Wi-Fi between the islands. You can check also that one.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But that would be the most powerful Wi-Fi router ever. So yeah, I mean, have you like every time I check the map or something, it's or the globe or something. Hawaii is so far into the ocean. I would think it's like just right by U.S. It's like so far into the ocean. It's crazy.
For comparison, how many Estonians away is it in the water?
20?
20 Estonians.
More.
Wow.
I don't know. Maybe 30. I don't know.
30 Estonians.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where were we with the story about like, yeah, it's not simple that so like from perspective of the user, when you see the video, the chunks of the data, of the video data, is being sent through many servers and many computers to actually arrive to your phone or to your computer. So that's why it's not such an easy thing to achieve, to actually stream a video. And then there's the second issue that they are dealing with, why you usually see why Vimeo is supporting the HD or 480 or whatever like sizes. It is because they want to reduce the footprint that they are actually sending through. And so if you are watching a small video screen, they send smaller images, so it costs also less for the person watching the video, and it's faster, because to send a small file is faster than sending a huge file.
Which is high quality.
Yeah,
right?
high quality,
Higher.
of course.
Interesting. So many awesome questions come up. It's like costly. But okay, so
Did you know that kind of how do you perceive that the things that you do on internet or at your computer or just in internet, let's say, does it have an impact in the world, like physical impact?
someone's banging or something. Maybe, or just walking. Does my actions on the internet have an
I didn't hear the moaning.
Yeah, well, not maybe
No
banging with a
banging.
hammer.
Yeah, maybe that type of...
So, do my actions on the internet have an impact
Yeah,
on...
physical consequence.
They could. You probably mean that everyone's doing it and everyone does have it. But my simplistic answer would be like, sure, if I tell someone to go do something. Then
Okay, so you see that. Do you have an influence on internet? But I mean, like more in physical sense, that every picture that you store on your, what do you have?
Yes.
Like Google account, it is stored somewhere. There's some sort of place in the world where that image is stored. It consumes the energy. It produces the heat, and it is being most likely refrigerated by some sort of nearby lake to cool those pipes and cool those systems. Have you seen like Google data centers?
No, only the Bitcoin mining things.
Wow, it is so interesting because they build these huge warehouses of data centers that are mostly like solar panel thingies that are powered by sun as much as possible, and they have nearby water supply to cool down the whole system because they are producing so much heat and whatnot, and it's such an interesting thing. But every time you upload the picture, it goes there, and
Right.
it uses that energy to store it there and to keep it there. And then there's probably some sort of procedure that makes sure that your picture is stored also somewhere else in case that particular device breaks down.
Fails.
Yeah. So you most likely every time you save something online, you're producing just a bit of carbon or a bit of something.
Yeah, that's the thing I was thinking about maybe last year. I think I was just filming some. Drum students, lessons or some exercises, and I'm doing an iMessage, and I'm obviously creating content. I mean, I'm filming something new.
You're a creator.
I'm such a creator, filming
Content producer.
filming their own exercises while they're playing them. And I noticed that, I'm sending it to the person. First of all, it's on their phone. It took some storage from their phone or something.
Yes.
If they have iCloud backup, it goes to a cloud. It goes to is a server correct thing to say? It goes to a server.
It goes to the cloud.
It goes to cloud. Okay,
It's
somewhere. Plus,
yeah.
it's like I created something, and it could be like 4K video. It's just like a bunch of megabytes. It's like really. It's just like a little clip, but it's quite substantial because the phones have gotten so good. The quality is so good. So you send a really high quality.
I thought
thing.
it's intellectually substantial. It's a piece of art.
No. Well, it depends on what they're playing. but no, they're really good. My students get up to speed really quickly with what I'm teaching. So anyways, I was noticing like this has to be stored somewhere, taken care of them. I open up my computer, the same video I sent to myself is there. Like, so yeah, I was thinking like, it's easy to go like, this, Facebook doesn't work, or this message didn't go through or something, but most of the time it does. And I don't even think about that somebody has to pay for the, I don't know, millions of terabytes of storage somewhere so that people can have this service for free, this iMessage or something. It's pretty wild. So I guess some legal stuff is also in the middle there. I mean, let's say people get deplatformed all the time, right?
Oh,
right? Let's say
direction is shifting.
Well,
I love
we're
that.
still in the video player.
Okay, go ahead. Yes.
So if they get deplatformed, they might go, as Jordan Peterson and other folks went, let's build our own little platform to host whatever we want to share. I don't know how far they went with that. It could be ready, it could be beta, I don't know. But so they probably went, Jordan and friends went to some developers saying, build us a web player platform or something.
Yeah.
So I guess they would have it. They saw the limitations, like maybe even philosophic differences or political differences, which made some people bannable. And they wanted to kind of, first of all, they didn't think that this is correct or should be banned. A lot of people who got banned, they thought shouldn't be banned. So they kind of wanted to do their own thing. Let's say I want to play my djembe drum to some backtracks, which are like copyrighted music. And obviously YouTube will take them down because I don't know, because it's dumb. Meaning stupid, right? I mean, I'm promoting the song. I would do anything. I would like write the artist's name on the video, flashing like I'm playing this guy's song. Go buy his everything. Go buy his t-shirts. I'm wearing his t-shirt. It's amazing. They won't even allow you to do that. They'll just remove the video because you're using copyright material. I don't know, stupid. Although there are ways around it, I hear, because people make these cover tracks where they play drums and their famous songs playing. But anyway, so if you would make that player for me, would you be in some legal trouble if I upload some stuff and I don't know, Kapo or like Kaitsepolitsei or like CIA of Estonia would be like, you're talking about these things or you're using the F word too much and you have your own platform and we can't have that or.
I don't know, because I think it depends on the country. So it most likely would apply that where are the servers running from which country. So there might be some sort of, how would you say, so that country's law would apply on those servers about the content that is being kind of put on the server. So that most likely would apply there. But about is it? I don't know about the copyright laws, how they work, and I know that it's kind of very strange system. How the money is actually gathered and how it's actually distributed and so on. So it's weird and it's very specific, so it's hard to respond. But you had like multiple directions about this particular thing.
Well, I just I guess I just wanted to kind of know about programming some video player, how difficult that might be. Basically, just want a play button to work and a pause button to work.
So in short, it's the complexity, underlying complexity, to have the experience of like smooth delivery and everything works perfectly in all the platforms and all the different devices and all the different variations of devices. Then it's very difficult task, and that's one of the reasons why there aren't so many competitors on the market. There are some, but it's not that many. There's like big players of YouTube, there's Vimeo, there's the BitChute, there's the some interesting solutions with I think the BitChute and kind of this blockchain-y thing, distributed, one of the distributed systems that was working too. But for your purposes, I have heard there's also kind of this platform called Nebula? Nebula? What was the correct?
Nebula is, yeah.
Yes, that's exactly the thing. I heard that some artists go there to kind of teach music, and in that case, it's not copyrighted, or at least it's not a. It doesn't have the algorithm to search for copyrighted music, so you can put whatever music you have, or let's say you want to cover or teach somebody some sort of song that is copyrighted, so it at least will not be flagged.
Yeah.
And so maybe that's an opportunity. But kind of doing that in-house, it would probably cost money and a lot of effort to actually make it work.
Money. Interesting.
Money.
So if I come visit you and your girlfriend with my family, cake won't cut it. I have to bring money
Okay.
to to make that work.
Stacks and stacks of money.
All right, I'll bring my backpack. But blockchain, you only work with apps connected to blockchain somehow?
Not necessarily. It's kind of it's the field where the company is working. But there's a lot of ideas and a lot of related ideas in the scene that can be explored. But I'm not super technical about that part.
Okay.
I'm working with very talented people, and I'm more in the direction of like, let's say there's like super technical people with intellectual prowess of understanding high mathematical concepts, etc., etc. Then there's like hardcore engineers who are thinking about the scale. They're thinking about how to deliver that Netflix video to this guy in the other side of the country that isn't connected by the wire or whatever. How to use the satellite, and then there's me, like how to put the buttons on the screen so the end user is pleased, like aesthetically pleased, and he's like, oh yeah, this is good experience of using a thing. I'm kind of more on that end of spectrum.
It's crazy, right? In so many fields, if not, well, most fields definitely, if not all fields, what people kind of experience if they come as a customer or a client is just like the surface level things, which has to be nice and it's cool. It is how it is.
It's not even cool. I think kind of now the how would you say, competition is so cutthroat that all the small details has to be right. So you don't go to the competitor and don't choose something else. That when you click the button, that it has to be pleasant. You know, it cannot be just a next screen. It has to be like this, kind of this sensation. If you notice all these like bouncy things or some sort of tactile things when you click, it's a part of art and science of giving that pleasant sensation. Or for example, that you pull down in Instagram, that it kind of pulls down and
refreshes.
snaps back. Yeah, but it has this like nice snap back. It's not jerky, it's just smooth. It's like, this is pleasant.
Yeah. Steve Jobs was on stage showing the first iPhone, and it already had that nice gliding effect of scrolling, right? And if you like kind of let go, it keeps on scrolling and slowly comes to a halt. Yeah, amazing stuff. Or if you hover over a button, it goes slightly darker. You know, these things. It knows you're like, you know, almost about to click or something. So, few dumbass questions coming up. Blockchain. If some dude goes, I want to create this thing. Okay, I'm gonna call it blockchain. So that's the thing we're talking about. I'm gonna call it blockchain. And I know what I need to do. I know what I need to do. But first, how should I start with? Let's go to a computer store and get me a server. Or what is a blockchain? Like, it's not a piece of code, just a piece of code I wrote down. Where is it? It's in some server in some country. No, it's some dude has a box with a bunch of wires that has some code and shit in it, and that's the main blockchain engine thing. No, it's not like that. Or like, what is it'd be so awesome if like people who don't know IT shit and like at all, because I've been given the kind of explanation maybe once or twice a year, like yeah, blockchain, I'll tell you what that is. Bitcoin, I can explain, like okay, but like Bitcoin is, I guess, a bit more easier to explain because it's like currency, like, you know, well, paper, like fiat currency, is even
Well,
more
that's
an
kind
easier
of the
concept.
function of it.
Right. But so like, how do you explain blockchain? It's a technology. Is it a technology?
It is, yeah.
Is it centralized?
It is kind of on the scale. There's movable scale of how centralized it is.
What kind of makes it centralized? The fact that it runs through some server boxes which are located in certain place, and people, if they know where they are, then I know where the center where to go, or like,
So the centralized means that certain things would be done on like certain server or certain machine, let's say. The server is basically some sort of computer running somewhere. So, and kind of the centralized means that, let's say, if that particular machine is down or isn't working, then the whole thing doesn't work anymore.
yeah.
That's like big issue. On other hand, let's say there would be a decentralized. That means that every participant in that whatever protocol or kind of thing.
Technology.
Yeah, kind of it's kind of protocol that everyone is having one part of it, and if one of those participants kind of falls out, nothing happens to the rest of the system.
They all hold copies, or they all hold their own thing?
They sometimes they hold copies, or they hold partial copies, or they hold like certain amount of data to say that okay, this is correct. Like in the case of the what Bitcoin thing, that they have like copies of like certain data, so they know, and they compute certain algorithm to verify that, oh, okay, I actually mined a coin, that they go through expensive computation to produce a number, and if they have that number produced, they go and communicate with others in their circle, say, hey, I have this proof that I actually did all this work, and please put in into my account, and they like everyone agrees. Oh yeah, looks like he's actually did what he's telling, and everyone is like, yeah, okay, we agree. So they kind of like between people, if somebody would come in presenting a proof, we would go, looks good.
Yeah,
looks good. We both looks good. Okay, this is the new state of things. So now it's a part of the blockchain. So it's like small blocks, and we added new block that shows that okay, these are linked, and nothing in the past can change now.
If blockchain continues to grow, that is also a crazy amount of data which has to be stored somewhere, like all these agreements and the nodding and everything.
It might be,
but since it's only code, it doesn't take much space.
It depends. It's kind of these questions are very vague.
I told you, don't ask questions.
It could be, of course. If you would store a 4K videos on the blockchain, then the blockchain would get very fat and very slow, very fast. But it's not necessarily the case that you have to store everything on the blockchain itself. You could say that, I have something, and let's say the locker number of that particular thing is this one, and it's stored in that blockchain. So instead of like storing actual data that you have, you can store just some sort of reference to like, oh, this goes to some other place where I actually stored the data itself.
Blockchain was kind of coming around at the same time when Bitcoin was coming around, or blockchain was here much earlier?
I don't know exactly. I think it's kind of the blockchain is more politically correct way to say the umbrella term for technology, instead of going, oh, okay, this is Ethereum, this is the Bitcoin, or this is something else. Kind of the idea of type of blockchain.
Are there creators of blockchain like John Smith and
Yeah.
yeah,
There are like multiple.
engineers?
Well, there's couple of blockchains that are running already. The Ethereum and a lot of derivatives of that thing. There's a lot of things, and then there was this hype of coins and whatnot. I don't know which of those are actually running or whatever. And as I don't hold any of the cryptocurrencies, so I kind of don't care too.
So someone could say, "Oh yeah, look, I made this program. Oh, it's cool. Where's it? Where's it hosted? So, oh, I got my own blockchain. Is that a thing? You can say that, or that doesn't make sense
Well, you probably can say that, but it would be probably quite funny too.
because it's not incorrect.
No, technically it could be like that.
It could like the
It could be,
Ethereum runs
yeah.
its own. We got our own blockchain.
Yeah.
Okay, but
What is the interest? I'm like I'm trying to understand what is your model of like perspective on the world, and what exactly is that tickles you
About-
about this thing.
well, I think there are many. So I hear many opportunities. I mean, well, some people talk about blockchain, and they're kind of, mostly they're very enthusiastic about it. So I get the impression that it's probably a technology of the future. Like this is only going to expand. And some friend in another city told me, like, yeah, my husband, is trying to expand this company on construction, the area side of business, meaning some contracts would be signed like that automatically. So yeah, it's a blockchain thing. I'm like, interesting. Like people are like, okay, blockchain. That's the thing running behind some new opportunities that people are trying to grow into businesses and stuff. So it seems important. And obviously cryptocurrencies as well, like interesting, a lot of like value, happening there. People are paying shitload of money for coins and stuff. And the better ones are surviving, and the other ones are going extinct. And it's all like blockchain based. And I guess I'm kind of still kind of looking at, because I don't know the background of it. Like some people would open up like a computer, say like, oh, you check this numbers out in this code, and this is the thing. This is what you're looking at. This is the chain thing. If this code wasn't here, then that thing wouldn't be there. I don't know. It's just to understand, because most people don't have like an idea of coding. I mean, you write a line and another line, and then some sequence happens.
But that's, I would say that, for example, I probably cannot provide you the some sort of technical insight about the blockchain itself, but I definitely can say that there's a lot of hype, and it is in some way technology of the future. But the issue is that nobody knows exactly how. So there's a lot of people spending a lot of capital to discover that, because the question is, what is meaningful? Because the blockchain gives you certain properties. For example, that it can work as a currency, or it can, let's say, some types of blockchain could help, how it's called, the registers of the land, or to track, let's say, the Nike shoes. Is it original Nike shoe, or is it some ripoff, or whatever thing? So there's kind of this like provenance for the things. If you buy drugs, medicine, that it's actually a thing that you bought, you know, and that it kind of confirms that, okay,
That these mushrooms were grown.
Yeah, where they actually were grown, and it's not some sort of like South Estonian type of thing. If you actually want like North Estonian thing, so there's the like provenance, who gave what where, and that you actually can verify that.
Yeah.
So it gives these properties, but the question is like where it's actually useful.
That's a good example, because that's kind of like the example that I've heard years ago, which is you buy a shirt, you want to know that child labor wasn't involved and other crap wasn't involved, artificial chemicals were not involved, destruction of a forest wasn't involved, then you can check it out and be certain that it's so. Yeah, that seems kind of cool. Anyway, so you happy with your info technology work? Like, do you run into like many problems during the day? I mean, like, shit, like, how does this work? Or you go like, I'm trying to create a program, an application, and I know what I need to do, and if I don't remember something, I know where to turn to. This thing will make me remember what I need. This code is there, and I just put them all together. Is it very like stressing or mind-boggling? Or is it kind of like, if you don't have too many deadlines, you're fine and you just need to keep steadily working on whatever you're working on?
Yeah, such a vague question. I'm just thinking where to go with that. I'm like, we have been vagary for half an hour at least. What is the intention behind the question?
Well, let me give you an example.
Yeah, give me like musical example.
Exactly, music production.
Yes.
Let's say I'm trying to create my own song. So I'm sitting behind the desk. I have the production app in front of me, the same one that's open right now. And I had this idea of a beat. So I'll start with the beat. I know where to turn to for the bass drum. I use the hi-hat sound. I tune it a little bit, and then I do the keying. Oh, this sounds good. Now, I want to connect some keyboards, like let's say a piano to it. I know how to start recording, when to start recording, what keys to play. But now, like, I have this idea of a melody, but I can't find the right sound. And I was like, I don't even know what I want. So everything went well. Technically, I didn't struggle because I knew where to turn to and get the sounds and tune them the way I want to. But either now I can't find the right sound, or I don't know, something else happens which kind of delays everything. So it's I don't even know where to turn to. Like, I open like YouTube, like great synth sounds, or like where to turn to, or should I listen to some Spotify songs to get some inspiration, or like, do you run into struggles with your IT work, or you mostly it's not like, shit, I don't know what to do.
For the most part, you don't know what you're doing in general in life. But more specifically, it's that I would say developers are mostly glorified Googlers. They just type in, it's like, okay, what is this message doing? Okay, I don't know why this isn't working. Okay, you Google, oh, okay, somebody has had this problem before. You take the code and then okay, of course it makes sense if you put things like this, and then this thing starts to work and so on. But I guess there's also kind of the question of one is the technical aspect, that okay, it's very simple to create like web application, but to find the melody, or let's say it's an analogy of what would be a good workflow to book a appointment. So in that case would be like, do you first put the dates on and then you invite people, or you first invite people who you want to have and then you enter the name, or what is the thing? So there's also kind of the process of discovery, when you kind of technically know that the melody will probably be something similar in the same key with the more or less variation and so on, but that there's kind of this process of what actually is working. So you have to play around, or you have to explore, noodle around with the keys to see like, oh, okay, this actually makes more sense than things before, and so on.
You also sometimes just kind of experiment to see if stuff works?
Yeah, of course. I think in my experience is that even recently I was talking with Balisi that kind of there's a difference between people who see that something isn't right, and they can they can discriminate that, okay, something isn't right, but they don't know what exactly isn't right. And then there are some people who seem to have like, they see that something isn't right, and they also see what needs to be done. So there's like
why,
or why. But I think it's kind of this. There's a bit of fetish about why nowadays. Like always start with now, but there's also a very important part of how things are done, and it's like how it's being done, type of thing. So there's kind of this insight that some people just knows what they want. They have the vision already in the head, or they hear the song and then they just need to type it out. Like Michael Jackson example,
right?
That he just was singing the songs and then beatboxing what he wanted to write, and he has many tapes of his recordings, and then he just somebody else transcribed or made orchestrations out of them.
Yeah.
But he already had the song in his head. And for some other people, I guess it's just the time with the keyboard and then trying to find some sort of inspiration from some sort of input that they have.
Some sound, yeah. When I started music production, it seemed to me really quickly that what I need to do when I'm learning this program is I need to finally, in the end, be able to have the speakers play what I feel in here. That's basically it. Like if I want, I need to know like where to take the bass drum. Let's start with the bass drum because it's the first stroke of the bar. What it will sound like, different sounds. Like I could go through a list of your bass drums. This one I like. Okay, cool. Now where do I position? I need to be able to position it. So in the end, if I do my clicks and stuff, or if I play on a keyboard rhythmically record, then in the end the speakers will play what I had in mind or in heart. So where did you kind of learn the language, coding language, or the thing you use for work, like self-taught or a school thing, or
what do you mean? Like initial? What was the first exposure to programming, or kind of the thing that I'm doing right now?
Both. Let's start with what got you into like coding.
Finally,
stuff.
you fired up. I was seeing the eyes are glazing over of blockchain.
No. I wanted to know.
Mean?
I wanted to know.
No, but the short answer, nobody knows right now. It is like great potential, but nobody knows, and hopefully there's like huge promise of, especially about the things how they are changing in the world regarding the attitudes towards governments and how people are organizing themselves and how they exchange the trust. So there's like that type of potential of how to reduce the reliance on big governments. At least for me, that resonates the best. But regarding the programming thing is that the first excitement for me regarding the programming was when I saw the first computer, which was Russian model computer, BK-100 or something like that.
Was it a screen and the thing all in one?
Yeah, it was. I think it was a. I don't know if it had like separate thing, but I think it was a screen with whole thing, and we didn't have the memory module. So every time you clicked in on, it started from zero. so you couldn't save anything.
Ooh.
And it had two functions that at least we discovered, because there also wasn't a like manual or internet or anything like that.
Yeah.
One was the programming in QBasic, which is like one of the programming languages, and then there was a drawing program where you could draw by moving the line and drawing out some sort of like in the pixels.
Was there a mouse?
No mouse. It's just with the keyboard. You just move to the left, to the left, to the left, down, down, down. And with the programming language, you could also draw. So you would write circle, and then you put in parameters, how big and what is the location of the circle, and then it draws the circle on the screen, and then you can put the background colors and whatnot. So it was such a like magical box, and then there was this like huge excitement, because before that the best technology that you get was like two perfectly sized sticks to run around in the woods, and now there's like this huge world of wow, this thing is drawing something on the screen, wow. And I remember spending time at school just sitting down and writing instructions to draw a turtle's face, like a ninja turtle's face.
How did it work out?
Yeah, perfectly.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing. Compared to that time, I spent so much like cognitive cycles of like thinking and obsessing about, because it was such a like novel thing that wow, this is computer, this is something like beyond, this is kind of next level thing. And so you just write down all the instructions, you calculate, okay, how it should be, and then you type in everything after going home after school, and then you see the picture, and you're like, and that's it. You just drew a picture on computer, and you kind of, I look back and I see how used to all of these things we are in some way, and how less resourceful we are. Because I see that, I'm listening some podcast on Spotify and it just lags. It just like freezes up and doesn't fetch my list of something. And I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I should get something else. And it's like, how many, like 20 years ago, I was like sitting and spending hours and hours just thinking about how to get a turtles on the screen.
Yeah.
And that's like huge difference.
So at that time, were people still thinking that personal computers will not be something that most or everybody has at their home? Or people were like, yeah, this is obviously a revolution. People at first, I think they didn't believe that everyone is going to have a box at home, and be spending time at a computer screen.
Mm-hmm. I would say, I don't know what was the kind of the cultural sense. What was they predicted, or this is the future. The surprising part was that at those times, to have a computer, it was a status almost. Like, I have a computer.
Sure.
It's like, Ian, I have a computer. Right
Can
now,
I come over?
Yeah, exactly. It's like I would walk like 3 kilometers. I remember the first time we were installing a Windows operating system, Windows 95. And we had a friend who lived 5 kilometers away. So we bicycled to the friend to get this like huge stack of floppy disks. Yes, and then you bicycle home and then you go and install it, and it kind of takes time, and one of the floppy disks doesn't work.
Oh man.
So you bicycle back and get the necessary copy and so on, and you can see the effort and kind of this energy expenditure. It's like we definitely would lay a cable from Americas to Europe just to get the computer working. And there was like this huge excitement, because that was like revolution. But at that time, I definitely didn't predict that 10 years later the computer will be a commodity in some way. That is like something. Yeah, of course, the computers. Yeah, I'm so tired of computer.
Yeah.
That it will change so much that it will be so affordable, so available, and it will be in every home, or it's expected to be in every home, and that you also have an internet connection.
Exactly. I was about to ask, like, internet. I think I hear people talking in the context of internet as a human right. Have you heard about that? Like, so people are thinking, shouldn't the access to internet be a basic human right? So that's an interesting topic, I guess. I haven't really thought about that much. It's obviously very complicated, meaning where? China? No way. Like in China, they would never allow such a thing. But in many countries, they probably would. And I guess basically, if I start to think about it, it's like, let's say a wealthy Scandinavian country has enough wealth to build some centers in some cities where citizens of that country could have, if they wanted to, for whatever reason, unlimited access to internet usage, something like that, basic.
Yeah.
Or it could be taken from there to go, we're a wealthy country, we're going to buy something, some masts and satellites and shit. We got to get back to the satellites. We're going to send up a satellite. We're going to call up Elon. He's going to send up a satellite. And we're going to provide free coverage of internet for our citizens. You know, something like that. I guess people are thinking about these things. Does that sound like the way of the future?
The way of the future. The way of the future is unknown.
But internet is expanding, right? I think I hear, like, in Africa, more and more like cell towers and... they go the mobile route. Yeah.
Because, it's so interesting because they have adopted the technology slightly later. And for them, it makes more sense to, instead of having wires and things like that, to use mobile phones, mobile things. And so there's a explosion of untapped potential in some way, because there's the opportunities that they didn't have before. Now they start to uncover, and then there's like this, oh wow.
It's an interesting analyzing point, because when I go to Asia, in Thailand, well, first of all, internet is, I think, 98 point something % searched with a mobile device. I think that's not including like tablets. So it's like mobile phones, smartphones. Meaning, obviously, a mobile phone has to function. So that's like number one. If a laptop remotely functions or locally some on desk functions, that is, I guess, is secondary. So you go to Asia, and your phone has to work. A lot of infrastructure laid and really good internet connection in Thailand. In Bali, not so much. Like, it really could. I don't know how it's now. It could evolve, I guess, quickly. Meaning, a couple of years later, you go there, it's much better. But so far, it has been really shit compared to Thailand. Like I couldn't reload my messenger messages or something. But still super heavily mobile. The first thing you see when you land at the airport, people selling you SIM cards, right? So all these different providers. So yeah, the world in many places definitely has gone super mobile, right? Interesting. And I guess one of the things is like Wi-Fi, free Wi-Fi. I think I heard recently, did Elon want to do something about providing free Wi-Fi for everyone or something? I think some people are trying to...
There have been multiple projects. I think Google had a idea about like worldwide coverage of Wi-Fi. I think Facebook also had some ideas about that, like having not even a satellite. It's even more impressive in some way, because I think some ideas that I saw, I think a couple of years ago, was a special type of airplane that flies very high altitude with a huge wingspan, and that it kind of provides the satellite connection. So imagine there's like these huge aircrafts floating in the air, and then they are communicating between each other, and then they are providing the connection to the ground.
Sounds expensive.
I imagine that laying a cable inside of the Pacific Ocean was also a quite expensive ordeal.
Yeah.
So I guess it's worth it in some way. And so on. So there's like a huge effort to provide those things. I don't know what's the reasoning behind it, or what are the like big obstacles there or not. Because I imagine like maintenance usually is a big thing, and so on.
But yeah, I think it's interesting how, as a global society, we've gotten to an interesting point, especially this year. I mean, every year we get more experience with what does an internet connected world do to a society, with a society. Meaning, it's a tool. It can be used in many ways.
Yeah.
And like it's a similar way, I think in March this year, when Corona was really starting, I think people kind of felt like, oh, like a unity. We have a common enemy, like a virus. Maybe we should, not maybe. We were kind of getting together, and we can do this together in different countries, working together. And then everyone had their own opinion, and a lot of it became messy. I guess with internet, it's like, upload YouTube videos. And in 2005, I think YouTube launched, and an excellent platform. And then things start to grow, and then we're at the point where even on YouTube, like people get deplatformed, people upload stuff there which legitimately should be taken down. I know some violent stuff or different stuff, like trying to use this tool to promote, I don't know, some beheadings or some stuff, like crazy stuff. Meaning, but that's just a platform. So basically, if you want to, use this internet tool to create a bunch of chaos, you can also do that. And in many ways, a lot of people are doing that, I guess. Even the big players are kind of restricting other users or people on their using their service in weird ways. So I don't know. It kind of seems that sometimes you hear these crazy stories about I don't know, people, how internet has been used, like terrorist groups, and also, I guess, black market trading stuff, and or it's so crazy. I think on a podcast there was a dude speaking about, I think, how pedophiles operate or something, and for some stupid reason, this person revealed how they might, or like a human trafficking ring might communicate globally online. Like, I mean, you can't send a message, but it was close to that. I'm not going to repeat it because it's like stupid to reveal the kind of easy method to exchange messages for these types of people. So anyways, I hear these examples and I'm thinking like, fuck, as a humanity, we might have been a bit too young to have this tool. We're kind of fucking up with the tool. Obviously, we're creating amazing things as well, but how do you feel like human society and internet in 2020? Are we doing a good job? Or is it like kind of sketchy, like, shit, we have such an amazing tool, and it's really easy to mess this thing up?
Well, there is a lot of incentives from different sides of making a chaos to confuse. And in some way, the question is about the quality of communication. I think that's kind of lacking. Maybe before the issue was access of information. Now we have the access of information, but we don't have a curated or some sort of that somebody would curate of what is actually worth seeing or experiencing in some way. Because let's say nobody can watch all the content of YouTube ever in their lifetime.
Yeah.
And there's so much good stuff and so much of useless stuff. And of course, there's also kind of the underlying currents of either intentional mischief of like trying to make a chaos or to propagate hate in different ways between countries or whatever. So in some ways we are messing up, and in some ways we are discovering a lot of things of what is going on in some way, because there are some incentives, at least I see that there are some developments that are kind of good to see, but in some way I see also that people are undervaluing the importance of like actual human contact and then being with the person in the room and having that type of conversations and presence to bring such a presence, because even though you have a video and you have the audio or whatever, it's really hard to communicate and to express yourself fully. Of course, it's wonderful to have kind of this huge distinction. I see that there's like huge value for the video, that some people are just engaged with video so much more than reading a text or listening to the podcasts and listening to audio while they are doing something else. So it's such a like new market or some sort of underutilized niche. But of course, the question is like, okay, now you can pick all of these things. Well, what is the thing that you actually is worth your time? What is worth the time to spend and invest attention in? I think that's the biggest issue.
Yeah. Because the information is there. There's a lot of it. Yeah. How to, not only how you select, but how is it selected to you? And
that's even that's I guess the issue with the YouTube. Instead of presenting the information that is relevant to you in some way, it is also incentivized to provide you as much view time as possible.
Yeah.
So it's kind of it kind of shows the things that you are interested, but in kind of very
specific ways.
Yeah, in the limbic way that you're just like, oh, maybe I should see the squirrels. Oh, wow, this is how these things work, or whatever type of ideas are discovered, and it's kind of hooks you a bit, and so that's maybe the unpleasant kind of, that it's not only the information that is being presented, but also the way how it's being presented.
Yeah, and very specifically to keep you, as you said, to keep you watching, meaning the more advertising revenue for the
whomever,
the platform itself, obviously, and the advertiser. Yeah, well, that's a whole nother awesome topic.
But how do you feel? It's like what is for you because you have a business online too, or at least that's where you want to go.
Yeah.
How do you feel that does it? I heard that you have troubles with the fact that you cannot express yourself creatively because the platforms are not supporting like certain features of that you want to put the music in, that you actually want to teach people to play, and then so on. But in general, has it been forced for good, or you feel it's taking up so much time and you don't spend time with your family or loved people.
With the content that I create?
Or content that you consume.
Well, yeah, these are very different. Content that I consume, I've over the years, I've never been a really like a face in screen all the time type of guy, luckily. But still, even that being said, subscriptions have gone down. I take them all. I put them up on the screen and I see like I'm not following that. So to keep that to a minimum, because otherwise I don't want to have too many things to be excited about. I was like, I mean, it will take too much time. I think this is a funny little detail, but YouTube Premium really kind of helps because you can have your phone screen off and still keep on listening to the video, because many times it's a podcast or something. I don't need to see the video, but I can do gym while I'm listening. Basically, I've tried to take down the amount of content that I consume, although if I take it completely away from me or like almost away, then I feel an element of entertainment starts to vanish from my life. So it's nice to sometimes feel that, all right, I'm working, and then I'll take that 10, 15 minutes to just watch something. I haven't like watched something for like 2 or 3 days. I'll be happily at peace when watching something entertaining or something that I care about, like cars or something, like a video on YouTube, something like that. And so for me, a useful tool. I love I mean, I don't spend hours and hours on YouTube. So unfortunately, probably the people that do, whether they're teenagers, they don't have to go to work, or they don't have certain responsibilities yet, I guess it's kind of shit for their eyes, for their communication, for their relationship. They don't speak to each other that much. I've been to schools in Estonia, maybe over 100 schools, definitely with drumming and stuff. You go to the hallway of a school, it's fucking crazy. 25 people, not a single one talk. Everyone's in their phone. It's like I made a picture. I was also on the phone. I had a picture to make a picture. Like, watch this. Like, this is what's happening. So, but luckily, I'm not in the screen so much of the time. And the content that I create, it's been nice. Obviously, people go to YouTube because that's the biggest platform. So that's also where one of my channels is. It'd be awesome to create djembe songs, drum set songs, which have famous other audio playing in the background. Once I get to that, I'll see if there are ways around it, because you see again people doing that, and some way their videos are not taken down. Maybe you need to have a certain viewership or something. Like, get
I
your
don't
channel
believe
somewhere.
that's the case. There's the issue is that it's automatic. So if they sample part of the video, and that part of the video contains some sort of like signature that is
Copyrighted?
kind of reminds the machine of like, that sounds like Jingle Bells from Mariah Carey and so on. So it's like, no bueno. So that's the like big issue that people run into, that it's such a huge platform that you never ever see a person on the other side of like support or whatever. So that's if you're banned, or if your one video isn't accepted and so on, it's like nobody cares about it.
Everything has gotten so super automated. Many services, like even mobile telecommunication companies, I can't even find an email. Sometimes I just can't find an email. I can't find a number to call. Like, like, write us a message in this box. Like, or some assistant will help you. Which kind of works, but I just want to like write an email. I just want to like call up someone.
Send a postcard. It's like-
Yeah.
But how do you discern? Because I think it's also a question in different level that how do you discern what do you want to consume, or what type of videos or ideas you want to be presented with?
Well, since I don't really browse around, I only check my subscription feed. And obviously it remembers the channels that I have unsubscribed from,
Oh yeah.
meaning it will recommend some juicy stuff,
Yeah.
which I sometimes click.
Yeah, it's just like, remember those clubbing times?
Remember that?
It was good. It's like,
Yeah, this user created with this amazing car that you probably like.
oh yeah.
Yeah, there's a new video.
What's your brand?
What do you mean?
Of the car?
Well, there are many.
You have many.
Oh, you mean my car?
Yeah, yeah. What would be like your? Are you like Toyota guy or Hyundai?
Like as unlimited.
Yeah,
Like, what would I?
If you could pimp out, is like you would get your vintage whatever things, and it would be the kind of your street car, the car that you would go and to show off.
Well, I don't know if I would go to show off.
What would be okay? So
But
you're
I
not
know-
showy guy. Okay.
Ferrari probably.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. It's a kind of simple answer, but because
Well,
it's
it's
most
unexpected. I was thinking of like some sort of Japanese, a very exotic car from somewhere, and so on. It's not about the brand so much, but about the kind of niche aesthetic.
Yeah, but well, once you've tried a Ferrari,
Surprise me. What would be the car that I haven't heard about, but is cool car?
can it be like super expensive?
Yeah, a secret. I don't know much about cars.
So you want me to tell you a cool car?
Yeah, a cool car that nobody has heard about. The majority of people haven't heard about, but it's something of like, wow.
Sure. Well, Bugatti.
Well, the Bugatti. I still remember.
You know the
Yeah,
name.
Bugatti. I think I played how it was the like turbo bubble gum things.
Ah, yeah.
Remember there was like
Yeah.
Bugatti
Probably
and
EV.
Maserati
Yeah,
and
EV110, probably the
Yeah.
old one, from the 90s.
Mhm.
Rimac,
Rimac.
Yeah.
Okay, I haven't heard that one.
Croatian, I think. Company made by this guy called Mate Rimac. I think in their language it's pronounced Rimac, but
Mhm.
internationally known as Rimac.
Mhm.
Guy a bit my age or a bit older, like 30, in the beginning of the 30s, I think. Some engineering genius dude played around with electronics, basically makes one of the fastest cars in the world at the moment, I guess. Electric stuff only.
Oh, okay.
Supercar, meaning like a supercar design, 2 doors, like a sports car. Only electric, 4-wheel drive. Has the second model ready. And basically, the numbers are crazy. The people who have experienced the prototypes in the passenger seat and stuff, maybe even tried to steer, say it's completely crazy. And I think Porsche bought a part of Rimac already, so they know this is
going to be the future. Yeah.
Yeah, and some other battery company I think invested in Rimac. So that's definitely something that car guys are looking.
So it's
out.
so interesting that so it means that somehow the building a car is more accessible than having to build a car beforehand.
It's still crazy complicated.
I imagine it's like it was interesting to see the transition of kind of in start of the 90s when the cars were mechanical mostly, to some like weird period where it was mostly about electronics. If you didn't understand electronics, you probably cannot fix your car,
Yeah.
type of situation, to now that there's like purely electronical cars.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay, this is so interesting that you can improve your car by uploading a new software into your computer,
Yeah.
on like a big computer.
Yeah, it does that during the night. Like,
Yeah.
You go to your car in the morning and it's been updated.
Yeah, it's been sleeping and thinking about new things.
And it came up with many new things. And always connected to the internet.
Mm.
And it drives around as a hotspot, like Wi-Fi hotspot.
So, but you probably cannot drive well in Bali.
Good question. Well, I mean, you can drive,
Yeah.
but it will upload. It probably has its own, I don't know, SIM card or something. But like Teslas have their own. It's a Wi-Fi hotspot.
Yeah.
And what's awesome in a way is that they have on board the technology to drive themselves already, but it's just a regulation thing.
I see, yeah.
So luckily, one day, what an improvement, right? One day you go to sleep, you can't make your car like turn up or go away or do taxi by itself. The next morning you wake up, some updates have been made, regulations have been settled,
Yeah.
and it's literally the case, as Elon has said, that you come home from work in the evening, you press a few buttons to confirm that your car can now go by itself and do taxi for clients.
Yeah.
So a car pulls up, there's no one inside, you just jump in, and basically it will help you pay for your car loans by doing the taxi.
Yeah, especially if you combine it with the drug dealing. It
Yes.
should be very hot business.
Bodies in the back,
Yeah.
and the packages in the back
Yeah.
seat. Right. Yeah. On that note.
It's a candy dispenser. It's like,
So, but yeah. So yeah, that's I could talk for hours for like cars. But we have to wrap up. I feel like there's so much more that I get some awesome juice squeezed from you.
yeah.
With some awesome topics. We just got to the IT,
Yeah, at least interesting part.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm curious about
No,
that stuff.
it's interesting to see the. For me, it's interesting to see that you have curiosity, but the question is like, what would be the things that excite you? Of course, there's like the private thing that you are interested in the sense of, okay, I have this problem, and it seems to be IT problem. Is there an insight that would help me in some way to some sort of like really interesting ideas about life and in general? Like, for example, we just talked briefly about the internet and like disruptions and whatnot, and it's like, for example, the political aspect of that. It's like, how much can you actually regulate things of if some other country is disrupting peoples in your country? Do you consider it a war or not in some way? Because if somebody from other country would come to Estonia and start to make mess, it would be kind of forbidden, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's like this happening in internet all the time, and everyone's like, it's okay, kinda, because nobody wants to say that, it's an act of war.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of those type of ideas that are really interesting and really mind-boggling. And then what is your participation in that thing? So.
Yeah. Well, we can write some stuff down and maybe next time talk about those. I mean, yeah. Experience is always, I like to say I'm like pro experience, meaning I've tried a different, bunch of things, and obviously shouldn't try all things. Some things are totally insane, but a lot of stuff isn't, right? So it's so with every one of these like podcasts, I think something is growing somewhere. So I think it could be just as interesting, and if not even more, to next time to speak about some other stuff. Cool. Do you have some catchphrase? Some at Jānis? Follow you at Jānis? Something?
Oh, I know.
You don't have to. Like I don't really have. Like I don't know. Buy courses at djembemaster.com or something.
Even better, Google Djembe Master.
Ooh, thank you.
Yeah, you get some good rankings out of that.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Jānis. And thank you everybody for listening and or watching. And just before I say goodbye, I've especially enjoyed this because this is the first English podcast.
Oh yeah.
It's all in Estonian so far.
And now everyone knows that the Estonian Mikael is just the front is totally American.
Yeah. As it grows, it'll become.
How many years have you been in Estonia?
Yeah. So, all right. Thank you, everybody. Until next time.